Hey guys, so here's our pin, our little Mandalorian with Grogu. Look at, he's in the corner in his little bag. This is a good one. I really wanted to get one of the Mandalorian walking, but when I saw that it had him in his bag, I'm like, oh my gosh, that is perfect. It's just perfect. So let's get started. He's so good. So, all right, let me set him aside and we'll get started. So the cardstock we're using is, this is 5x7 of basic gray. And I cut my 5x7 a little bit under 5 and under 7 because when I put it in the frame, it tends to be a little bit too big sometimes when I go to put it in the frame. So in order to avoid that problem, I cut a 1/16 of an inch off the top and then the side, just on one side, just to make it to where I know it fits. And this is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, and that's for our next layer. And then our final layer that we have is a 4x6 of basic white. All of this paper can be found at fabulousstamper.com. We're also going to need a circle, and you can get a 2-inch circle again at fabulousstamper.com. And I'm just punching a yellow one because it just helps me visually keep. This is Lemon Lolly. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our Lemon Lolly and we're going to approximate where we want to have our sun. I printed out a sentiment that we're going to be using. This is the Armando card, so I printed out a sentiment. And so our sentiment is going to go right there. So that just gives us a guide. I don't want to leave this down because it might get messed up from the inks, but I think that's about right. That looks good. And so I just had to get a general spacing. First, we're going to take our Lemon Lolly, and this is my brush that I use for yellows. Yes, there's some staining on this side, but it's okay. It's all dried, so it doesn't really mess with my craft. And I'm going to go ahead and color. Oops, I went right on the project. Dang it. I meant to go from off the page on. And we want to color this center part where the sun is going to go with Lemon Lolly. And we're just going to go all the way across and just color a big area, Lemon Lolly. And this is to make sure that there's going to be plenty of yellow where I can put my sun. It's not terrible because it'll get shaded, but it's just helpful. And I could have used just Daffodil Delight. I just like the idea of a light yellow at the center here. I want to make sure there's plenty of yellow for where my circle is going to be. Yep, plenty, done. Then I'm going to take my Daffodil Delight. I'm just leaving the circle there, just even though I don't need it there right now. I'm leaving it there just for a minute. I'm going to hold that down. I'm going to ink up my brush with the darker. You always start with the lighter yellow before you move to the darker. And so this is way too much ink, I'm sure. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to start shading from the bottom to get our dark yellow. And just whatever you think is good. Now I tried using a different color as the base, but really white is the best one because when I used a different color, it's like you couldn't see the yellow. It just didn't look right. Sometimes when the cardstock is a base color, it can sometimes affect your design a little bit more than you want it to. Let's get that approximated to the center. And it's not going to be perfect, and we're just going to hold it down. We're going to get, oh, I need my orange. And, oh, I forgot to tell you guys about my new brushes. I just got new brushes in. You can buy a 3-pack of these brushes. Oh, this is a 2-pack. But they come white like this. And I have a red one. I have one that's just for red, one that's just for the yellow, as you saw, because that one was from before. I have this one for black. I also made this one for orange because sometimes I need orange, not red, you know what I mean? And the red can really just taint everything. So you want to make sure that you have your different packs. But you can pick up these brushes at fabulousstamper.com. The reason why I prefer these brushes to other brushes is that the lint doesn't come off, the bristles don't come out of the brush. I mean, they're just nice brushes. They're just really well done. And we'll go ahead and we'll move on to our project with our dark orange. We want to keep our circle right there. This orange part is probably the hardest. Oh, I started on the project, not off. Again, I think I'm rushing or just tired. A lot of Star Wars stuff for tomorrow. I'm sorry I didn't get this video to you guys out before May the 4th. It just wasn't logistically possible, but I'm glad I at least recorded it so that you guys can see how to make it on your own if you want. Okay. It's been so fun making all these. I'm a little tired, but it's been pretty cool. Oops. And so you see the sun, it's forming underneath, but you see that light yellow is super light, but it's perfect, you know? And let's add a little bit more right here. And it's okay if the circle moves a little bit. It's okay because I don't need the masking of the sun to be completely perfect, because it's not, you know, when you're in the heat haze, you know, like the sun isn't perfectly round, and, you know, I'm okay with it. All right. And then we need red. The red is going to come out almost like a pink, but again, we're just going to hold our circle down. Whoops. It doesn't have to be perfect. You know, if it moves, it's no big deal. It just adds more to the shading. And so we'll just go from off the page onto the page. But the red and yellow definitely start to make a purpley kind of effect on the left there, a different pink. And so let me get a little more ink on this. Oh, my hands are shaking, I think. Just a little bit tired, guys. There we go. Okay, so we got our red on there. Then we're gonna go ahead and take, this is called Crumb Cake. These colors are a little too bright. We have to darken them. So what I'm gonna be using is a new brush, and I already labeled it Crumb Cake, because when I start using some of the darker browns, it tends to just overshadow and color everything I have. So we need to shade this whole thing with a light, oh gosh, look at the mess I just made, with a light shade of Crumb Cake across the entire thing, just to darken it a little bit. It just gives this darkness, just a haze of like sand, I guess is kind of what I was imagining in my head. It's just like a haze of sand. And it just adds to the colors. And we just keep circling, circling, circling until we think it's gotten dark enough. I think it's pretty good. Yeah, when you compare like how bright that moon is, yeah, I think we're good. The only other thing we need to make sure we do is we need to add a little more brown to the very top. So because of this, that is the light, that's the light gray that I'm using. This is the light Crumb Cake. Now I'm going to use Pecan Pie. And Pecan Pie is a darker brown. So I need to make sure that I'm still masked off a little. This is called masking, where you're just kind of masking another shape. And so you're holding on to that other shape to make sure that it cuts a clean line. And you see how that adds like, so this is like a pecan pie brown at the top, and then we move to our reds. And I actually think I need a little bit more crumb cake across that red, just a little bit, to make it a little less pink and a little more sand in the air kind of pink. All right, so that adds all that. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So it doesn't take too long to shade. It doesn't take too long to shade in the sunset. And you see it's just about even in the middle. I think it's even. And so, but because I didn't mask down this circle, it has a straight edge of, you know, a rounded straight edge, but it's not a perfect shading. This center of the yellow is darker than the edge and just gives that sun feeling. Oh, we need this one more time. So then we actually need some other scrap paper underneath that. This part's a little bit messy, but it's definitely gonna get you what you need. So then I went ahead and I just cut a piece off of this pecan pie, and I then put it at the bottom of our pin craft here. And again, I'm just holding it down with my hand, nothing extreme. And then I'm gonna take my ink, my black ink, and I'm going to just press my ink straight down onto our card, just to fill those little areas. I want this sunset to be like clearly black silhouetted instead of other implied silhouettes. And it's very wet, so this has to dry. Well, we can go ahead and glue this layer down. Just got to be careful, because see how it bled through? We just have to be careful we don't mess up any of our other layers. So it's just cautious. That's why I also put the black layer down as the background of this particular craft. It'll blend in. I'm gonna go ahead and take a Kleenex. I'm gonna press this down. I don't want to get it on my fingers. That was maybe a little too much ink, to be honest. I'm just picking up a tiny bit of residue, but I just need to make sure that this is completely on. Yep. And now we're going to put it on put this layer on our base piece. The technique of this craft was truly just the shading. How to make sure your shading looks like a cool sunset. So no manipulation of the paper, none of that. Just keeping it as clean as we can. And let's get this lined up. Yep. Good, good, good. So you see our Mandalorian's gonna cover up most of those little marks down there on the black. Oh, maybe not, actually. His feet, I think, are just in the way, so we're okay though. I'm not gonna change that. It's a pretty cool sunset, right? Just done with blending brushes. So on Boba Fett and stuff, I had other pretty paper that I used to blend. I mean, other pretty paper that was already blended. You know, it was already created for me. On this one, I'm doing all of it on my own. This is pretty cool. Now, I'm going to use my centering roller for the top here. It was a little tricky getting it centered on my sample. So let's go ahead and, oh, I just realized that there are little hairs on this die. I think this die it doesn't need sharpening, but it's definitely got some, my little machine needs a little more pressure. And so whenever you have a die that's not really cutting, you can use foil, you can use a variety of things, but parchment paper also helps them come out of their little molds and cutters. So this is just something to think about. I think that's about wherever I go, he goes. And I think that's a perfect sentiment, especially for this pin. I thought about this is the way and all that, but honestly, I think this is perfect. Okay, so we need to put some dimensionals actually on the back of this pin. I'm going to put 2 dimensionals on each part of my pin. I'm going to leave them on when I'm setting my pin, but leave the backing on, but we'll go ahead and we'll set up our pin for success with its double dimensionals. It adds a shadow. I hadn't done that the first time, but it adds a shadow that makes the frame look that much cooler. So instead of having a lot of layering techniques like I've done for the other cards, this one just gets the straight Boba Fett, or not Boba Fett, Mandalorian. It's a little difficult to center him, but I'm using, there's like a piece of ground on his, on the base of this pin. No, I need it up a little more. Is that centered? Yeah, I think that's, it's just because he's walking, it automatically looks like it might not be, but it is. There we go. Yeah, that looks good. All right, so let's go ahead and pull our pieces off. Oh, I want to add a glue dot. I just want to really make sure that this pin stays in its place. You know, the male sometimes will shove things around, and this will make sure that the pin stays in place. So this shadow box frame is linked in my Amazon storefront. If you want to go buy them and make them yourself, I'd love it. I love that you guys might be making these on your own. I have one person that has sent me some cute pictures of their stuff that they've made. It just warms my heart. It's the best. I'm so happy that they're, you know, that they learned how to craft. All right. I don't know what that is, but these have come pretty dusty lately from the manufacturer. They weren't like this when I first got them, but lately they've been a little extra dusty. Let's just get all the dust out of this. And then we're going to take our plexiglass and peel off the layer of protective film off the plexiglass. And I recommend once you have your plexiglass unsealed, don't really mess with it too much. Just put it down in the frame. Takes a little, get it off. And then put your little box in, your spacer box. And then let me make sure there's nothing on the inside. I don't see anything. Let me get a sticky note. I'm not sure what that is. Nothing. And so I just really try to see those little hairs I was telling you about that were coming off of the label. They're here. They've, you know, I don't know if I just blow them up in the air or something and then they land in the frame, or the static electricity attracts it or what, but it's definitely a little difficult to keep those little pieces out of the frame. I think those are on the outside now. Then we're going to put a little glue dot on the back here. Again, not a little one, it's just one of these large ones. Now these are at the Amazon storefront. These are not from Stampin' Up. Stampin' Up doesn't sell these extra large ones, but Amazon does. And I just want to make sure that this is attaching well and the pin's not going to come loose. I just need it to, I need to know that it's staying put. And we're going to pop this on the frame, or on the foam. And that glue just holds the pin in an extra layer. You know, I mean, the dimensionals are going to hold it, the glue dots, everything's going to hold it. It looks so cool. So now, I really hope that's on the other side. I just don't want to close it up and then it's on the inside. Okay, yeah, outside. Just little particles. And it's also, I have a super bright light on it so I can see things you guys probably can't. And then we'll go ahead and put our little instructions back in. Close this up. There is our frame. Look at it. He really looks, there's like a lot of shadow. All that shadow on the edge is because he's popped up that extra layer. It just looks really cool. And even the shadow on the bottom, you know, like the black on the bottom is, even the little mix up at the bottom, it still, I don't think it really looks bad. You don't need to have it perfectly masked to get the effect. The key is we want the sunset to be a funny black line and then everything else is shaded. Pretty cool. I was tempted to put, you know, embellishments and stuff, but honestly, I think it's pretty perfect as is. So we're going to leave it. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Remember, you can pick up the supplies for this at fabulousstamper.com. I also have a link even for the pin. If you go to my Amazon storefront, I have a link for those. So please check that out. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you were able to snag one of these at May the 4th on my May the 4th show. If not, maybe I'll have some available in the future if I manage to get another good deal on a few of these pins. So thanks so much, you guys. You have an excellent, excellent day. And yeah, thanks.